Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folan. I hope we meet you well. Hope you had a great weekend. Okay, on to business. It's a Monday, first day of the week, and let's look at a story that broke on. I think it was on Friday. The Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani, speaking through his chief of staff, informed of an initiative in Kaduna to merge 359 schools and then sort of relocate them. This is among many other ideas that are being considered. But let's look at this particular one. It's a large one, 359 schools to be merged over in security. And our guest this morning, two security consultants, joining us, from, far-off places, thanks to technology. Dennis Amakari, MON, security consultant, is with us this morning. Fine morning to you, Dennis.
Good morning, Yori.
Indeed. And right next to me in studio here, that's our guy. We are here. Dr. Tony Ofoyetan, Director General, Institute of International Professional Security. Thank you very much, as always, Tony, for coming.
It's a pleasure, Edmond. It's a pleasure, sir.
It is our pleasure. Okay. Let me start with you, Dennis. Give me your overview, because immediately any initiative, any policy will have its commentators, and immediately some have said that maybe merging won't be enough. But it is a significant step, isn't it? The idea of the Kano State government to merge up to 359 schools. Give me your impressions on the idea.
Thank you, Yori. I'm really very happy anyway, because this is what we have been proposing. And I think it happened in Borno State, but the extent of which Kaduna State is taking it now, I think, is very, very credible. And I hope that they succeed.
Okay.
Right now, that was actually part of the Safe School initiative that has been proposed over the years.
Yes,
State has not been touched.
Schools Protection Squad.
Yes,
that's
now they have also brought... Hello, Yori, are you with me?
Yes, please continue.
Now they have also brought the School Protection Squad. Now, that is where I have a little problem, because these people, are they well trained? Who are they? Are they from the police, army, or a joint task force? Can they stand 200 bandits on motorcycles that can invade a school? These are the kinds of things that we need to know. Or maybe it's in the plan, and because of security reasons, they might not put it out there. But that School Protection Squad must be well trained and must be prepared enough to deal with the problem.
Well, okay. Well, that, as a starter, that's fine. So, Tony, as you might well know, one of the issues with all of this is that in the 2022-2023 year, Kano witnessed a reduction of up to 200,000 children enrolling for schools, giving some indication as to the scale of the problem. Give me your impressions too on this idea that if we merge schools, maybe, I don't know how that's going to work out, but they merge them for convenience. They will now relocate them to safer areas within the state. Your thoughts?
Mm-hmm. Uncle Yari, thank you very much, and thank you. The MON, I want to say good morning. Having said so, that was one of the things that came to my mind. Logistically, it's going to be a tall order because you are taking of children that stays within a particular locality. Are relocating them to where? What is the distance between where they are staying and where they are being relocated to? Now, you would have, like you said, what will happen at the end of the day is that some of the children may lose interest in furthering their education. Some parents may not be interested are willing to release their children from, to a location that is too far from where they are. Now that becomes a major problem too, and understandably too. Having said this, the issue will not be the place you are relocating these children to, like the MON said. What is the security level that have been put in place in those schools to the extent that if there are attacks, there will be formidable resistance? Now, you also have the intelligence network. Have you been able to put all this in place? Or just because you want to just play to the gallery? Because at the end of the day, you are talking of people that will come in their hundreds when they want to operate on an abduction level, to abduct school children and all. We have seen it play out in Kangara, we have seen it play out in Gandapchi, we have seen it play out in many places and all those stuff like that. So if Kaduna State government is doing this, then they should be able to convince us that truly what they are doing now, they've been able to put the necessary security machinery in place. I am aware that the Inspector General of Police actually brought out this initiative, and they have the Safe School Squad and the like for the sake of school protection, which is a good one. But the challenges that I'm envisaging is, one, what is the level of the manpower? What is the level of the financing? Because this project, this initiative of the Inspector General of Police came after budgets. Now, to what extent are they able to finance this initiative? Because this is an initiative that is mandatorily going to be driven, if it's going to be successful, on the platform of more of technology.
Okay.
Yes, more of technology.
When we talk technology, straight away we're going into intelligence as a major.
Very well. Intelligence, yes. Intelligence and intelligence and intelligence.
Yeah.
And you are talking of a situation where you will be able to have even drones that will do more of surveillance. Because these are not the terrains that is in the metropolitan city and all those stuff like that. Some of these schools we are talking about, they are in far places. And don't forget that...
Maybe wasn't that a weakness? Because they were in these far-flung places, they became sort of easy targets as opposed to when you bring them all...
I agree with you.
To a closer proximity.
I agree with you. But you also consider the challenge of these children being able to... Except government is saying that we are going to house all these children.
Okay.
Except are saying that you want to put all of them in boarding and it will be 100% your responsibility. In the absence of that, I can assure you that at least 30% of the children will drop out. And
that's one of the problems that they are hoping to stem. Dennis, let me come back to you. Tony had expressed concern about hoping that it had been as well thought out as it could be, and that it wasn't, some usual talk. But I'm sort of encouraged, and I don't know what you think, by the fact that the governor in Kano State unveiled this whole idea at a sort of a forum. The theme of the forum was capacity building, strengthening security resilience and integration of host communities into the protection of education, which goes directly to Tony's concerns, that what are the assets, the resources that we can bring to bear to make a success of this. With your wealth of experience, your thoughts on that particular concern?
Thank you, Yori. You see, it is not as easy as said. Dr. Tony has said it all, because when you come to look at the nitty-gritty, the details of this particular project, it's more involved than ever. We don't want a situation where they have just announced something, just like Amotekun. Remember when Amotekun came, and the announcement was that they are going to now deal with all these unknown gunmen and all kinds of people that are around in the area. And of course, we zero down to normal again. I don't want a situation where we are now congregating 359 schools. And of course, like the question you asked, 359 schools relocated. And of course, maybe I don't know how many schools they are going to group together, but all these schools must have the Safe School Initiative measures placed in them. And these measures are not just ordinary bring them together. Number one, like you were saying, they must be in boarding school.
Mm-hmm.
Because you cannot bring them and leave. Where are you going to leave them? With an uncle near the school? No, they are going to be boarding schools, all of them. And they have to be given all the measures. And of course, the measures, remember, one, access control, perimeter fencing. You have to fence all those schools, put access control, and then, of course, surveillance, cameras, all these things have to be put in place. And now it becomes very, very important also that you have to train these people. This schools protection squad must be trained, because they cannot just be even mopols or even soldiers hanging around the distance. There must be a special training to respond to this kind of problem. You know, like I said, if 200 bandits are coming on motorcycle, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
These are the drills. These are the drills that must take place, you know, before you say that, yes, you have secured that school. And then, of course, there must be a communication system, a reliable communication system that will also call on, you know, the either a standby military or police force that is sitting down there ready to respond, because that is how they will come and pack all of them and take away, and then nobody will, you know, will come and make political statements at the school. So when you are congregating these people, it is very, very important. And then one most important aspect of the Safe School Initiative is community engagement, which must be done with the community in which all these schools that are congregated have to be kept. Mm-hmm. So intelligence is very, very key. And of course, the information coming to them, to the security squad or to the whichever response team is very, very key. Otherwise, we are just trying to do a TV or photo ops, you know, make political statements and said we are going to do it.
And that's not going to cut it at all. Tony, how would you, Governor Uba Sani, you know, speaking through his chief of staff who represented him at the event, he did speak about commending the federal government for its 144.8 billion naira fund launch, you know, for this safe schools, you know, financing plan in 2022. I'll give an assessment of that kind of an initiative, because we're talking about, as you know, how people say, Obet Odun, Owolopa. So no, all of this is going to cost money. How would you evaluate or assess the 144.8 billion naira Safe School Financing Plan of 2022 as launched by the federal government initiative?
Well, in fairness to the president and the present government, they really mean well in that perspective. It's not a subject of debate. So far, so well, we see a government that once they promise, they release the money like almost immediately. But those that will execute this project are always the challenge, because the president is not going to be everywhere at the same time. His own is to say, okay, he has approved this. Those that are going to be the protagonists of the project should go and execute it accordingly. So for me, it's a good one.
Yeah, but this being an urgent project. We're talking about security. We're talking about our children. I recognize what you said about the way government usually goes. But do you think there won't be an exception for this because of the dire urgency?
I don't. The issue of exception is not even the major thing now, as far as the Safe School initiative is concerned. The initiative is not even talking about relocating children from where they are.
No.
It's talking about protecting them where they are. Because if you ask me, my first reaction was not that of commendation. I'm sorry to say it, because I saw it as a defeatist movement, because I was looking at a situation where if you have this initiative, you have this funding, it's a matter of strategizing rather than approach it from a defeatist. What the government has succeeded in doing, consciously or unconsciously, is to create more ungoverned space in Kaduna State. That's my own understanding of duty. Yes, by moving those schools from there, you create more ungoverned space. You also give this impression that you are helpless. There is little or nothing you can do. Psychologically, it has its own boomeranging effect, even on the people and on the students, wherever you want to take them to. But because the same initiative is to the extent that wherever you are in the Federal Republic of Nigeria as a student, you must be safe. You must have this sense of safety in you.
That's the ideal.
Yes, that's the ideal. And that's the idea. And that is what we expect that the Kaduna State government should pursue. And one of the best ways to pursue it is to pursue the adversary. Not this. You don't run for the adversary. You pursue the adversary. Kaduna State has have its own fair share of terrorism and other stuff like that. Now, unfortunately, over the years, Kaduna State has not been able to come all out with all its itinerary, all its might against terrorism in that state. You are talking of a state that at the time was even paying bandits, paying terrorists to ensure safety. Now you have decided that you are not going to pay. That was under the former governor, El-Rufai. Yeah. Now you decided you are not going to pay. It's as boomerang. What do? You put the terrorists on the run. Because if you are not putting them on the run, what you are saying is that, they, like the MON said, if they are coming in 200 motorbikes, to what extent are you able to resist? Because when they come in 200, don't forget that each of the bike will take at least 2 or 3 of them. So you are talking of a team of 400. And when they are going to abduct the children, they will just sandwich one in their middle. So that means they have the capacity of taking a minimum of 200 at a go. To what extent are we able to, put machineries in motion?
Well, I hear you, Tony. And coming back to you, Dennis, the scenario Tony painted is if they could operate unchallenged. And the point that Governor Uba Sani was making, he was emphasizing that there was a need, as both you gentlemen have said, there is a need for the capacity of the armed forces to be upgraded. He said this is nothing is going to happen without any of that. So that the logical example that Tony has just drawn, I would certainly hope that these people are not able to attack unchallenged. Take the example he gave for illustration. You come, I think you started it with the hypothetical number of 200, and look at the capacity for damage. Look at the capacity for abduction. If they could operate unchallenged as they have been able to do in the past. Hopefully, those are the kind of things that the governor was emphasizing must not be allowed to happen this time around.
Yes. I think that is the crux of the matter. That's the crux of the matter. Tony has put it all succinctly. Because when you look at it, we are still not addressing the root causes of this problem. We are just trying to deal with the symptoms. Number one question, who are these bandits? Why are they in our ungoverned spaces? Why are we allowing them in those ungoverned spaces? As long as we allow them within our boundaries, we will continue running around. Now we are congregating the students in 359. We are relocating them.
Yes.
When they start attacking those ones, then we are going to reshuffle again, and then they will keep on marauding.
Which goes back to what Tony was saying, that we are inadvertently, maybe unconsciously, projecting a state of weakness if they are able to push us around in this way.
I agree totally, because right now it's like we are running. And that is what exactly I have been saying over the years. Pursue these bandits. Pursue these bandits. We don't allow them to take hostages. Then we start negotiating, and then they pack a lot of money, go and give them. They use it and party, and then, of course, give their financiers the rest, and then come back again. We are too soft-handed, kid's glove with them. What we need to do is to put them on the hot run, on the hot seat, so that they are told, if they take it will be difficult. In fact, they will think twice before they come and, kidnap children, because when they know that they are going to be attacked or they are going to be pursued, the fight is going to be brought to them, then we are heading towards somewhere.
Okay.
But if we don't, we are going to, continue turning around and around, and they are also planning their own, because they said, okay, remember when the military was trying to bring out the super camps? Where they moved all the military people in Borno State, put them in a super camp, and they attacked it because they know that, okay, they are all here, so let's do it. Yeah. So we have to think this, and go back to the root causes and nip it in that bud, because these people cannot be allowed to continue staying in this country.
Indeed. You know what Dennis just said there, it sort of reminded me that it's not generally thought to be the smart thing to do to put so many vulnerable assets, in this case people, children, in an area where you could strike and do the most damage, as opposed to when they are much more scattered. But then again, they're being much more scattered opens them up to the vulnerability of being far away from, for instance, places like, organs like the School Protection Squad or the Inspector General of Police. Let's look at that Schools Protection Squad. As you were saying, this was an initiative originally by the police and the Inspector General of Police. Can the police handle this? In fact, I want to give you a two-pronged question. Part of it is what Tony spoke about, where the way we are, quote-unquote, being pushed around by these ne'er-do-wells, it's indicative of the suffrage approach that we seem to be adopting. Now, before then, a lot of people in frustration had said, what is this all about? We have superior firepower. We have superior training in the police, in the army. But it would appear, we used to say that all through the Shagari regime, that the men in uniform they operate according to the instructions and commands that they are given. That's true. What is the problem with this zero tolerance command coming out?
I think basically the challenge basically is that of the political will.
Political will, okay.
Yes, Segon. You see, like you rightly identified.
Sorry, before you continue, Tony, I beg your pardon. Let me just take Balogun, who has called in from London. Good morning, Mr. Balogun.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much for calling in, sir. Good morning.
Hello, Uncle Yori.
Good morning. We can hear you.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Very interesting topic you have today. First of all, sir, with due respect to the gentleman in Mr. Tony in your studio,
yes,
he's apportioning blame on the state. Maybe if I don't understand him, I'm part of place. apportioning blame to the state. I don't know what Mr. Tony wants the state to say or to do at this very time. Because if you check some of the states, what they are even doing to the police, to the army, buying equipment for them, which is not their constitutional right to do, and they are doing it. So I don't know what Mr. Tony wants them to do. That's on one hand. Again, we have to have changed the method of schooling. Method of schooling in the sense that we won't go to open schools. But these days, because of security, people have changed the method of their schools. Before you have access into schools, there are so many codes. The ones that are little one in the primary school, you have to have an identity before you can take any child out. So many things to be done.
Mr. Balogun, I fear, Mr. Balogun, Mr. Balogun,
I think they've tried their best.
Mr. Balogun,
to my own knowledge.
Mr. Balogun, I hope you are not taking primary schools in the UK as a model. I hope you still remember the way we are. I don't know if you
I remember. I went to that school. I did school in this country. I did my primary, secondary school and university in that country. I didn't school here. But what I'm saying is that we're supposed to have changed the method. Now that we are facing this insecurity. That's what I'm trying to say.
All right, then. Well, thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Balogun. His question is, so what does Dr. Ofoyetan, what does he want government to do?
No, we're actually not passing blame on anybody. It's a solution-finding venture. So
yes, it is. Yes,
and what we are looking at to ensure that this initiative is a successful initiative. The police safe school initiative, for example, you know, we're talking about it before the Pleasant call came in. And, you know, I said, look, it's not as if the military, the police don't have superior firepower. But, you know, I've said this thing severally in this studio that you consider the role of sleeper cell in counter-terrorism. Sleeper cell are people that are sympathetic to the cause of terrorists. And they could be in high places. It could be governor, it could be minister, it could be House of Rep and the like. They are sympathetic to their cause. And because of that, they give them information, first-hand information. That's why you see issues like ambushment being successful and the like. They also give strategic opinion and all those stuff like that. And when there are policies and rules that will be made to ensure that terrorists are out of the road, you see them coming all out with their might, with their power against all those.
Because
yes. Now, if you can't remember anything, you remember President Goodluck Jonathan, who said that Boko Haram was in his government. At least he was fair enough to admit that. After that, successive governments have not been able to admit that, even though we know that, of course, they are still there, so to say, you know, sympathizers to the cause. And that is why you will see people with different opinion about whether to go kinetic or to go non-kinetic. Now, when you want to talk about kinetic approach, you know, to counter terrorism, you will see people will come with all their might, with all their force and the like. And we keep saying that, look, if you want to talk about negotiation, and we all sit on the negotiation table, who is going to be the principal partner or who is going to lead the negotiation? Because negotiations are better led by the one that has been able to establish his own superiority. Is it the federal government or is it Boko Haram? Now, if you have a round table meeting and you have to talk about negotiation, if Boko Haram say, to hell with your negotiation, do they have any reason to be petrified that there will be their consequence? I hope you understand. Now, if they don't, that means that you now have to establish your supremacy on the battlefield before coming to non-kinetic. Now, these are things that, you know.
This is where you began to speak about the political will to do the needful
very well
earlier. But Mr. George has been holding on for a while, so let me bring him in. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. My greetings to Tony and Mr. Amakri. On a lighter note, Uncle Yori, Mr. Macri is looking younger, if my eyes are not deceiving me, since he relocated.
Don't mind Dennis Ojari. I told him to spend a little time there. Come back here. Come back into the sun here.
To run away. So,
He's one of the jackpots.
coming to the point of discussion today, Uncle Yori,
Yeah.
I sympathize with the state governors who are resorting to relocating schools to the urban centers because they are not in charge of the army. They don't have a security outfit of their own to deal with these bandits. The question is, how long can that be done? And how long can we sustain that? Does it even bring the desired result? I've been listening to the contributions by Dr. Tony and Mr. Mankri. But what baffles me is, up till now, the government seems to be reluctant in taking the battle to these good-for-nothing people. If you are running away, they will keep on pursuing you. Take the battle to them in a concerted form.
Indeed.
I believe our military has what it takes. And they can do it if they want to do it. But why are we not doing that? Surround them and pursue them from different directions. They are the ones to be running.
Indeed.
Not we running for them.
Not we running for them.
Not we running for them.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. George, for calling in. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back to continue with this conversation.